The studio lights blazed with an almost blinding intensity, casting sharp shadows across the sleek set of Good Morning Britain. Piers Morgan, perched confidently in his chair, leaned forward, his piercing gaze locked onto Meghan Markle. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the kind that precedes a storm. What had begun as a routine interview to discuss her latest charitable endeavor had swiftly devolved into a fiery confrontation. The topic had veered into treacherous waters: her controversial departure from the royal family, the media frenzy that followed, and the carefully curated narrative she and Prince Harry had presented to the world. Piers, never one to shy away from a challenge, seized the moment with the tenacity of a seasoned journalist on a mission. "You've spent years painting yourself as a victim, Meghan," he began, his voice a deliberate blade slicing through the polite veneer of the conversation. "But where's the evidence? Where are the concrete examples to back up these claims of mistreatment?" His words hung in the air, heavy and accusatory. The studio audience, a mix of loyal viewers and curious onlookers, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Meghan, dressed in a poised yet understated ensemble, sat with her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Her expression, initially calm and composed, began to crack under the weight of his scrutiny. She opened her mouth to respond, her voice steady at first, but the tremor beneath it was unmistakable. "I've shared my truth," she said, her tone measured yet laced with emotion. "The experiences I've had, the struggles behind closed doors, they're not for public dissection." Her eyes flickered toward the camera, as if seeking an ally in the invisible audience beyond. But Piers was unrelenting. He leaned closer, his tone sharpening. "Truth? Or a carefully crafted story to garner sympathy? You left the royal family, moved to America, and now you're profiting off books and documentaries. Forgive me if I question the narrative." The words landed like a punch, and Meghan's composure wavered. Her lips parted slightly, a flash of hurt crossing her face before she masked it with a tight smile. The exchange escalated with each passing second. Piers pressed on, citing specific instances from her public statements, challenging her to reconcile them with the royal family's counter-narratives. "You've accused them of racism, of neglect, yet you've offered no proof beyond your word. How are we supposed to take that seriously?" His voice rose, a crescendo of skepticism that filled the studio. Meghan's hands tightened, her knuckles whitening as she struggled to maintain her dignity. "You're twisting my words," she countered, her voice rising with a mix of defiance and desperation. "This isn't about proof, it's about lived experience, something you can't quantify on a page." The tension was palpable, a live wire sparking between them. The crew exchanged nervous glances, unsure whether to intervene or let the moment play out. Piers, sensing her vulnerability, doubled down. "Lived experience? Then why the silence when it mattered most? Why wait until you had a platform and a paycheck to speak?" The question was a dagger, and it struck true. Meghan's eyes glistened, the first sign of tears welling up as she fought to hold them back. The audience gasped softly, the sound rippling through the room like a wave. She blinked rapidly, her breath hitching as she tried to formulate a response. I did what I had to do to survive," she stammered, her voice breaking. A single tear escaped, tracing a glistening path down her cheek, and the studio fell into a stunned silence. The camera zoomed in, capturing the raw emotion in high definition, a moment that would soon be dissected across the globe. Piers, for a fleeting second, seemed to hesitate, his usual bravado faltering as he registered the impact of his words. He leaned back slightly, his expression softening, but the damage was irreversible. "Meghan, I'm not here to see you cry," he said, his tone shifting to a reluctant concession. "But the public deserves answers." The words felt hollow against the backdrop of her distress. Meghan wiped her cheek with a trembling hand, her gaze dropping to her lap as she struggled to regain control. The live feed continued, the red light on the camera a relentless witness to her unraveling. Outside the studio, the world watched in real time, the confrontation unfolding like a dramatic theater piece. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the studio equipment. Meghan's team, visible in the wings, exchanged worried looks, ready to whisk her away the moment the segment ended. Piers, ever the provocateur, maintained his stance, but the shift in the room was undeniable. The tearful moment had shifted the narrative, turning a heated debate into a spectacle of human fragility, and no one could predict the fallout that would follow. The moment the live broadcast cut to a commercial break, the internet exploded into chaos. Social media platforms, particularly X, became a battleground as clips of Meghan Markle's tearful breakdown flooded feeds at 8:49 a.m. PKT on Friday, July 18, 2025. Hashtags like hashtag #MeghanMarkleCrease and hashtag PiersMorganUnleashed trended within minutes, with opinions splitting sharply down the middle. One side decried Piers as a ruthless bully, their posts dripping with outrage, disgraceful. Attacking a woman on live TV, where's the humanity? Others defended his journalistic tenacity, arguing, he's just asking the hard questions the public deserves answers to. The video looped endlessly, each replay amplifying the raw emotion of Meghan's glistening cheek and PA's unyielding stare, turning the confrontation into a global talking point. Backstage, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the studio's earlier intensity. Meghan sat in a dimly lit dressing room, her hands clutching a tissue as her team gathered around her. Her publicist whispered reassurances, while a makeup artist dabbed gently at her smudged mascara. "You handled it with grace," the publicist said, though her tone betrayed a hint of concern. Meghan nodded weakly, her mind racing. The tearful moment had stripped away her carefully constructed armor, exposing a vulnerability she hadn't anticipated. "I won't let this define me," she murmured, her voice steadying as resolve took hold. She straightened her shoulders, vowing to turn the incident into a narrative of resilience. Her team buzzed with plans, statements to release, interviews to schedule, determined to reclaim the story. Meanwhile, Piers remained on set, preparing for the next segment. He adjusted his tie, his expression a mix of satisfaction and unease. The producers huddled nearby, debating whether to address the fallout on air. "It's gold for ratings," one muttered, while another cautioned, but the backlash could be brutal. Piers waved off their concerns, stepping back into the spotlight to defend his approach. "I'm not here to coddle celebrities," he declared, his voice carrying the familiar edge. "Meghan's story doesn't add up, and the public has a right to question it." His words were met with a smattering of applause from the live audience, though the energy felt subdued, as if the weight of the earlier moment lingered. Across the Atlantic, the royal family watched in silence. Palace insiders leaked cautious statements, neither condemning nor endorsing the interview, but the tension was palpable. Harry, reportedly at their Montecito home, was said to be furious, pacing as he scrolled through the mounting online commentary. The couple's allies rallied, launching a counter-offensive with supportive posts and articles framing Meghan as a victim of media aggression. Yet, the damage was done, the image of her tear-streaked face had become an indelible symbol, ripe for interpretation. By midday, the story had evolved into a cultural flashpoint. News outlets scrambled to analyze the exchange, with pundits dissecting every frame. Some praised Piers for his boldness, citing his track record of unearthing uncomfortable truths, while others accused him of crossing a line into cruelty. Posts ranged from memes mocking Meghan's tears to heartfelt defenses of her struggle. One user wrote, "She's human, not a punching bag, Piers went too far," while another retorted, "Cry all you want, but accountability matters." The debate spilled into talk shows and podcasts, with guests debating media ethics, celebrity vulnerability, and the blurred lines between journalism and sensationalism. Meghan, now composed, stepped into a strategy session with her team. They drafted a statement emphasizing her commitment to mental health advocacy, turning the tears into a testament of strength. "This moment will not silence me," she insisted, her voice firm. The plan included a follow-up appearance on a friendly platform to reframe the narrative, a move her team hoped would shift public perception. Meanwhile, Piers faced mounting pressure. Sponsors hinted at reevaluating their ties with Good Morning Britain, and viewer complaints poured in. Yet, he remained defiant, doubling down in a follow-up segment, insisting the interview was a necessary provocation. The incident's ripple effects extended beyond the immediate players. Social media influencers weighed in, some staging mock debates to capitalize on the buzz, while others called for a boycott of the show. The public, glued to their screens, replayed the confrontation obsessively, unable to look away from the dramatic clash. By evening, the story had transcended entertainment, sparking broader conversations about the media's role in shaping narratives and the toll it takes on those in the spotlight. Meghan's tears, captured in that fleeting moment, had become a catalyst, leaving an indelible mark on the cultural landscape as the world waited to see how the saga would unfold.